project. Something that came to mind that I might create a design. Hope everyone's doing great today. What I've done so far is just trace a line with a marker, and then next I use my razor blade to cut a line in the paper. So what I've done after the razor blade is I use the marker to then make my shape here, and hoping that it would bleed through the paper. I got somewhat of a symbol, and then what I'll do is just keep repeating it a few times until I have the full shape on the board. Now I have my symbol on the board. I'll just use the marker with hand to finish it, make it. Now I have the Ankh on the board, drawn the rest in by hand. Yeah, this is looking good so far. With the Ankh, I'll drill some holes, add some screws. It's the same method that I use to make the Fibonacci, and that's how I shape my wire into the golden ratio, or the shape of the golden ratio. And then here's my next project. Looks like this rose bush may need some electroculture. It's not mine, but maybe I give it a guinea. We'll see. Okay, looking a lot better. We have the guinea added. And using a small drill bit, we have the Ankh finished. And what I did is just drill tiny holes, and then I added the screws afterwards in the same shape, keeping in mind also as I'm making the shape with the screws, keeping in mind how I'm going to wrap the wire later. Yeah, several options as far as several options of wire to choose from. Please use what you have. I have some braided copper, some 12 gauge, some 10 gauge that's insulated. Yeah, if you have any scrap, or if you have any coaxial, I know that'll work. And then over here I have some galvanized steel that I made the Fibonacci with. Yeah, my apology if anything gets windy. I know some weather just came in and I was moving spots, so I didn't get any city noise. But what I'm going to do is start with this insulated wire. Might be 12, might be 10. I have not practiced this design at all, so I'm just going to start where I believe may work. Maybe wrapping around a few screws, kind of getting things better. Since it's a loop, I just used 2 screws and then made my wind around this section. And then from here, we'll come back around this way. I believe anyway. I'll check it out. Yeah, the way it looks, it may be better to start at the bottom, work my way around this way, come around this screw, go across, and maybe come around this screw one more time and tie up in the middle. Yeah, since this is the first time I did it, I did kind of get a little crazy with it. Once I wrapped around here, I went this way, back down, around, kind of stopped here. This design can be done a few ways. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of complete it here, make a cut, make my wrap in the middle, and then we'll see how it looks. Yeah, after making the cut, it does feel like 10 gauge, and right now I have the beginning of the design. I may have to take some screws out to unhook it, but we'll see what it looks like on the final run, and then I'll go ahead and make one with some bare copper since it's a little easier to mess with. This insulated 10 gauge wasn't the best as far as learning for the first time. Yeah, I just unhooked a couple screws, the one at the end, the one at this end, and the one at the end here to get it off of this bend. It probably comes off easy. I have a lot to mess with after it's done, but I'll show you in a moment how it looks. I have my wire wrap completed. Feels pretty powerful. I was going to attach it to a stick or place it straight into the ground into some soil. Just practicing some new stuff, new project. I know this is one of those patterns, one of those shapes that's been used in our ancient history. Yeah, if you've seen my last video of braiding some copper, making a coil for your garden, I have one here that I braided, and then I'll use the same method to make the shape of an Ankh, and we'll use this piece of copper that's braided. Instead of a double loop like I did on this one, the braided copper, I just did one loop, and then I'll make my cut here, and then I'll use this one most likely for a pole, an electroculture pole, to harness the energy, the chi, the prana. Yeah, with this piece of copper, I did wrap the bottom around the screw. I made my cut, and then I'll just remove this screw, and this screw to detach it from the board. After detaching it from the board, it will come apart. You'll have to finish the wrap at the end. I have one cut at the bottom to make, that's about it. But here's the second one that I have. I have the second one with the middle wrapped. And you may want to leave some length before you make your cut. I learned at the end that the length would have helped as I'm wrapping around here. And then at the bottom, I could cut it, stick it straight into the ground, attach it to another electroculture device, use it as is. Who knows? Could be just a decoration in the home. This is one more. I'm gonna do a third one. More commonly, you have your 12 gauge wire, maybe 14 gauge wire, and I made my shape here. Have my screws removed. This one's gonna take a moment to shape because I have all this going on in the middle. Actually, not too bad. After removing it from the screws, I just have this where I gotta kind of shape it. At the end, I gotta bend everything here. I'll definitely shape it to make it a lot more perfect. I do thank you for joining me today. I just kind of twisted the bottom. My friends, I hope your gardens are going great. We'll see you next time. or device. I'm gonna go ahead and test it out on this plant, this lemon boy tomato. To start this transplant, I have some soil, some used soil. I have a little basalt as an additive, some rock dust, some powdered humic acid. I have a spiral clockwise. I have some lava rock. I have a natural stick. I have a piece of 10 gauge wire. We'll go ahead and do the transplant using all of these additives. If you have magnets and some metal, you could use stuff like that. Facing north. To start, I'll add a layer of rocks. This is not necessary, but I'm gonna go ahead and add it. Yeah, since I'm using recycled dirt, the humic acid will definitely help. I know the rock dust will give it a charge. This is before I even knew about electroculture. And then here's the little lemon boy. And what we have in addition, pulling out all the stops, we got some homemade earthworm castings, added denatured diatomaceous earth, just to make sure there wasn't any bugs, because it was kind of attracting things. So that's what all the white stuff is. And then right next to it I have a bag of spent mycelium, and then I'll add a little chunk there. It'll be the first time that I'm adding this to my outdoor garden. For the humic acid, it says top dress 1 tablespoon per gallon, or at a rate mixed into your media at 1 to 2 cups per cubic foot. So I'm just gonna add this cup. And then here it says 15 milliliters per gallon, 5-gallon container. I'll add 15 milliliters per gallon, and then I'll mix it into this soil. Added some humic acid, earthworm castings, rock dust. I will add some basalt later, more as a top dressing. That paramagnetic stone. Yeah, I'm gonna roll it around in the bag, probably add a little more humic acid, and then I'll probably add it in the bucket and do a hand mix little by little, just to make sure all the additives that I added are mixed in. Hand mix the dirt in the bucket once I toss it around in the sack for a little while. I'm gonna add a little more earthworm castings. Next, I will add a small chunk of this spent mycelium. Again, I haven't added any to my outdoor plants, but this will be the first time. Let's see what it does. Everything's sprinkled in nicely. Next, I'll go ahead and transplant this. Looks like there may be some other grass that's growing with it. I'm just gonna leave it. It's pretty cool. Some nice little worms growing in the soil that I had. So the living soil continues on. That means this dirt, this pot, I will have to add a cover crop in the fall and winter, and keep that living root growing. And then also may need to keep this in a warmer area so those little species continue to thrive. Have my stick going. The sun is coming out. So I'm gonna have to put this transplant in some shade for the first day. Yeah, the stick has 10 gauge wire. I'm gonna go ahead and strip the end here, and we'll get that connected to this new transplant using this new Electroculture device that I am testing out. Have the wire stripped. I'll go ahead and get it set in the pot. After the full moon, we have 2 more full moons for this to go. We'll see how big it gets, how much we could get off of this one plant. I just added the beginning spiral. Thank you for joining me today again. I'm joking, I said that 3 times already. To add some of this companion plant, some magic beans from last year. Just place this straight into the dirt and bury it. This will be cover crop for the worms. Good mulch.